And now I pass on to our Foreign Affairs Ministry. But I think this is an informal meeting, so Riharda Muciņa, Head of Bilateral Relations Department.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to congratulate the organizers of the Spring Festival for this event and for this timely discussion. I think that in general we tend as a government to have a very practical view on our relations with the countries of the Mediterranean, and namely just to state the fact that we are not represented there well enough. As you know, we have an embassy in Israel, we also have an embassy in Egypt, but that's about it. And also, of course, in this current situation and budgetary constraints, we are not likely to have anything else in the foreseeable future. And the point is that I have to admit that we do not always have a direct information as to what is really happening on the ground. We, of course, learn a lot from our partners in the European Union, and, of course, our embassies do their utmost, but the reality is that our resources are quite limited. This is why we are really happy about any other formats, and the Lynn Foundation is one of them, which basically helps bring people together from this part of the world and make contacts with the people of the Mediterranean countries and broader region. This civic society projects is something that I think the government should encourage in the future as well. Just to go through some of the points raised by Mrs. Peterson and also sent to us in advance. Why is this region, or has been this region, a one-issue region in the international perception? Well, today we can say it is not the case anymore, and we see that there's really a multitude of issues facing the region and each separate country in that. Why the Middle East peace process has been the core event in the past? It's for natural, I think, objective reasons, because it really was a matter of, and still is the matter of, international stability. It presented challenges not only to the parties involved, but also to direct neighbors and the stability of the region as a whole. It affected the lives of people in a very direct sense of the word, and that is why it was the core issue of the region. And also alluding to what Ambassador said, sometimes some other values in that region were sacrificed in the name of stability, but we see that this is not something that can happen for a long time, and of course all sorts of social, political and other problems were brooding in the background, and they have finally come to the forefront. Now we actually face a multitude of issues, like I already said, which are different in each separate country. Can we draw a direct comparison with the situation in the Baltics and our plight for freedom that goes way back to the mid-80s? I would say yes and no. Yes, to the extent that like Ambassador said, we are all humans and we aspire for more or less the same things, despite our different cultural, educational, and whatever backgrounds. Nonetheless, of course, I think that the Baltic situation and the situation in the other countries behind the Iron Curtain was somewhat different in the sense that we had a very clear point of departure, and for us it meant regaining of independence and the freedom and all other aspects that came with that. Another difference is perhaps that we, since mid-90s, we had a very targeted goal of joining two institutions, NATO and the EU, which served as a certain roadmap of reforms and to things we wanted to achieve in general. And we had that target in sight that helped facilitate our reforms and kept us in line despite various domestic political problems that we had over the years. Nonetheless, we could share some of our experiences in that regard, most certainly, but first of all, it is something that is up to the countries of the Mediterranean region to decide what they really feel we could share with them. We are not in a position and we are not likely to impose our model to somebody because situations are different. But at the same time, some of the practices that, for instance, the three Baltic states adopted in regional cooperation could, in theory, be applied to those willing to look for a similar model elsewhere. So that's something that has to be kept in mind. But of course, the core issue is what other international actors, and first of all, European Union, may adopt in order to facilitate a much more focused policy towards that region, and what kind of incentives the European Union, for instance, can adopt towards the countries in the south in order to make that reform process more attractive for the countries concerned. And that is something that should be done in discussion and dialogue between the European Union as a whole and each individual country in the region. I would like to stop here, and I really look forward to questions, answers, and much more free discussion. But this was these were my introductory points. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Muciņš. Thank you indeed.